Mike Munchak spent a lot of years playing in this city, 9 trips to the Pro Bowl as a member of the Houston Oilers, and now hoping to close out his rookie season with a win and a trip to the playoffs. And over on the Texans sideline, Gary Kubiak has delivered the Texans to their first ever postseason berth and has done an outstanding job coaching along the way. Titans won the toss. They'll receive to get things started. 20th meeting between these two AFC South rivals. The Texans won the first game this year back in week 11 at LP Field, 41-7, but the Titans lead the overall series 13-6. Neil Rackers boots it away, and here we go in Houston. Mariani from 5 yards deep. And brings it out to the 20. Flag is down on the play. Meanwhile, Matt Hasselbeck leads the Titans out on offense. He threw 40 times for 350 yards with a touchdown and 2 picks last week in the win over Jacksonville. He has brought veteran stability to the quarterback position for the Titans, and he comes in today needing 226 yards passing to hit 3,500 for only the 3rd time in his fine 13-year career. And a player is down on the field, a member of the Tennessee Titans.
That's one of the things that you hate to see, and with the new rules on kickoffs, and this is one of the reasons why too many guys were getting nicked up covering kickoffs, and you see here on the opening kick an example of that, and the league doing everything they can to make it safer for these guys doing it. And that player down is Mike Otto, who's a reserve tackle for the Titans. And you see there is his, you hate to say it, but you see the guy moving his feet, and it's a good sign.
Training staff got out there very quickly.
Yeah.
And obviously taking great care. So a timeout on the field. Back to Houston after this. Mike Otto, the reserve offensive tackle, left the field under his own power and being attended to on the sideline. So here we go, opening possession of the game. Long field for Tennessee. They start from their own 8-yard line. Damian Williams on the slant, close to a first down. Titans offensive line will be tested against this tough Houston front. Roos has given up only 2 sacks. That's tied for the least in the AFC. The backs and receivers, Jared Cook has been unstoppable the last 2 weeks. 17 catches for 272. The Titans would love to get him going today to try and open things up for Chris Johnson in the running game. Pickup of 11 and a first down on the previous play. Hasselbeck, Johnson, and another nice pickup and a nice grab by Chris Johnson, who is an outstanding receiver. Brian Cushing made the stop after a pickup of 20.
And the Titans are going to go no huddle right here as you see Matt Hasselbeck in the empty backfield, no running backs, no help back there in protection at all. That's why the ball, or one of the reasons the ball comes out so quickly. Without any extra protectors, he's got to make sure he's got an option. Of course, with the fastest guy on the field spread out wide, give him a chance to make the play. If he breaks a tackle, it's a touchdown.
They spotted at the 39-yard line of the Tennessee Titans, 1st and 10. Hasselbeck looking left. Again, Damian Williams, and he's near the sticks. And here is a look at the Texans defense. Watt is the rookie who has played well along with Cody and Smith up front. The linebackers are just fierce, smart, tough, and physical. The leader of that defense is Brian Cushing, who isn't going to the Pro Bowl. That's hard to explain. And the secondary, Jonathan Joseph is heading to Hawaii, but he's inactive today. Jason Allen starting in his place. So another first down on this opening possession for the Tennessee Titans. Texans coming to blitz, and Hasselbeck had to get rid of it in a hurry.
And he took a big hit, and I mean a big hit from Connor Barwin. He comes in untouched. You see right off the edge as they step into it, Roos, the left tackle, has to step down to pick up Cushing. It leaves Barwin, the furthest guy away from the quarterback. The offensive line of the Titans did the right thing. They left the outside guy as the unblocked, but they had too many rushers for not enough protectors, and that left Barwin completely untouched. Hasselbeck had to get rid of it, but he paid the price.
So 2nd and 10 after the incomplete pass. After the Titans had 3 first downs on their first 3 plays. Near midfield. Jamie Harper is in the backfield. Short drop for Hasselbeck. Out route. Washington able to bring it in.
That was an excellent route by Washington. A nice quick out. Great throw by Hasselbeck as well. It's a tough throw to make from the left hash to the far outside on a quick shallow out. Really tough to be accurate. You see there Stevens is also there. Almost reached up and knocked it away. As thought he might have thought it was intended for him, but nice catch with all hands by Washington.
Empty backfield as they move Ahmad Hall, the fullback, out wide. 3rd and 4 for the Titans. Good looking opening drive, trying to keep it going. Incomplete, just out of the reach of Washington, who would have had a first down.
Yeah, and that's the exact opposite throw they just made, and Washington made such a nice catch on. Hasselbeck just not quite accurate enough to the other side of the field on the exact same route. The quick out outside the numbers, and you see there Washington just can't reach it. Just off target for Hasselbeck, and that results in the punt.
So we'll see Brett Kern, who's averaging just over 43 yards a punt this season. Shiloh Kao is back deep, and he makes the fair catch at the 10. A 35-yard punt. TJ Yates, the rookie, ready to go to work when we come back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. CVS. CVS Pharmacy accepts Express Scripts and over 5,000 other insurance plans. And by Acura. Acura Advance.
The Astrodome looking like the baby brother of Reliance Stadium. I remember I went to see that when it opened back in 1965. They called it the 8th wonder of the world. Mike Munchak spent a lot of years playing some excellent ball in that stadium.
I was a Houston Oiler as a rookie in 1985. Mike Munchak was my teammate. We played in the old Astrodome, and what a thing. I still, you know, even now you look at it, it looks like a speed bump next to Reliance Stadium, but it was a thrill to walk into that old place and know that, you know, that was the first unnatural or artificial surface in the National Football, maybe in all of sports.
And you could buy a souvenir of it in the gift shop at the Astrodome, which I did. Opening possession now for the Texans from their own 10-yard line. Ben Tate, play action to him, and Yates is going to be sacked. TJ Yates, the rookie out of North Carolina, made his NFL debut in Week 12 at Jacksonville. Led the Texans on fourth-quarter drives in his first 2 starts, wins against Atlanta and Cincinnati, and now he has to be the guy to guide the Houston offense into the postseason.
Yeah, Gary Kubiak said, yeah, he's playing like a young guy, but he's playing like a really good young guy.
And Tate in his own backfield, they give it to Tate. Arian Foster not active today. Texans up front, they have really been underrated. Chris Myers anchors at center, and there have been some scouting services that have him rated as the top offensive lineman in the entire National Football League. Arian Foster inactive. Ben Tate starts instead. Big Andre Johnson is back, looking to shake off the rust after missing a total of 9 games this season.
A lot of discussion, as you see there, Matt Schaub on the sidelines, of the not enough Texans being represented on the Pro Bowl ballot this year, and they may have a point.
3rd and 12. Joel Dreesen, the tight end, and he's got a first down for the Texans, a pickup of 15 yards.
And you look at all this roster, and Dreesen's a good example. Kubiak said he has had a tremendous year for the Texans. You see him right on the right hand of the line of the scrimmage, just goes out and hooks up. TJ Yates finding him. So many good players playing well for this Texans team this year. You got to know it's true since they're in the playoffs and have clinched their division before the end of the season. But really, I think it'll be a while before they get the recognition they deserve.
Now to the 23-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Texans. Bootleg. Yates did a good job getting rid of it. A big play to Casey. And Casey has another first down.
And Casey, a guy who's a versatile player, starts a lot of games as a fullback, as he was here in the backfield, even though he's really a tight end, and he shows his receiving skills as TJ Yates, just in self-defense, gets rid of this as he's got Ayers right in his grill as soon as he turns around on that bootleg. Great play by the young quarterback.
From the 38-yard line, first possession for the Texans. Again, the check down. That's to Tate, and he has another nice gain. Here's the Titans defense up front. The big rookie out of USC, Jarrell Casey, has been terrific. And Derek Morgan, the #1 pick a year ago, has gotten better every week. At linebacker, Colin McCarthy has taken over in the middle for Barrett Ruud. The rookie has played well there. Titans are pleased with him. And in the secondary, Cortland Finnegan, of course, has a little history with Andre Johnson. They will see each other a time or two today. Pickup of 8 on first down, 2nd and 2. Derek Ward in the backfield, and he's going to be about a yard short of a first down.
Derek Ward, it's an interesting game as you look at this lineup for the Texans. Of course, Derek Ward getting some time, Ben Tate, and there's the guy, Arian Foster, who has absolutely carried this team at times on his back. And you think about this team headed into the playoffs, and Gary Kubiak said, hey, Arian has carried the load this year. He doesn't need to get beat up in this game. And, of course, today late, they made him inactive.
Foster, who was signed by Houston as an undrafted free agent, named to his 2nd Pro Bowl this week. Ward, and he muscles his way into Tennessee territory for another first down.
You know, I've played in games like the Texans are in today, a game where you can't improve or hurt your playoff standing, and it's really difficult sometimes to know that, you know, the game really doesn't mean anything. But then you look at a guy like Ward, and you look at a guy like Tate. These guys, it's a huge opportunity for them. They want to prove that they can win in this league when they're given the chance, and they're going to play hard today.
Tate gets a nice hole right side and brought down hard at the 35-yard line by Jordan Babineau, but another first down for the Texans, a gain of 11.
Yeah, one of the things that here, watch this, going to come right through here. You know this, Tate is a guy, a backup running back, who may get 1,000 yards today on the season. And the people in this stadium who want him to get it the worst are the offensive linemen that are blocking for him. You can bet they're giving a full effort for him.
Texans on the move, the Tennessee 35-yard line. Underneath, Tate, nice move. And he's down to the 27-yard line. Colin McCarthy made the tackle. And let's check up on Buffalo and New England. Let's send you to JB in New York.
Hey, Bill, an important game for New England.
It's the Tashard Choice. He goes 4 yards. TD runs 7-0 Buffalo. They go 8 plays, 80 yards on their first series. New England wins. They get the #1 seed in the AFC playoffs.
Back to Bill McAtee and Steve Tasker.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Tate burst through, and that will move the chains once again.
Well, this is an impressive drive. As you come in, you kind of think the Texans are going to be a little bit on pins and needles, making sure all their guys are healthy for next week. No such story here against the Titans. The Texans, who really beat the Titans pretty badly in the first meeting this year, are playing very well in the early going. The run game is really clicking, and TJ Yates using his check down patterns in the passing game to move the chains.
11th play of the drive coming up. Derek Ward is checked back in, and he gets it on first down. And another nice run. Michael Griffin finally upended him.
Yeah, right now the Tennessee defenders are kind of looking at each other saying, what's going on here? This is a team that we should be able to play better against. Look at the double lead right up through, and Ward just follows the guard and the tight end right up the hole. Tremendously well blocked up front.
Andre Johnson on the sidelines. Derek Ward had a 1,000-yard season with the Giants back in 2008, originally drafted by the Jets. Ward gets to the edge and out of bounds. That'll bring up first and goal. Jordan Babineau pushed him out, but there's a marker down.
And that was a late hit out of bounds, no question about it. The defender rode Ward all the way out and then landed on him outside the white line and would not let him go. I think it's a good call. You gotta let go of the running back, and now it doesn't look like and if he's hurt, that's the double whammy. You don't want that to happen.
After the runner was out of bounds. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Late hit, number 26 defense. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
That's Jordan Babineau. You see there, you got to let go, and he doesn't let go, and he throws him to the ground, and Ward got up trying to shake off a hurt. You see it goes down on his shoulder.
Jordan Babineau, who grew up about 90 miles away in Port Arthur, Texas. Tate, touchdown.
That's a statement drive.
That was impressive.
That was an impressive drive by the Houston Texans to open up a game against a team in the Tennessee Titans who had to come in and win. You figure they're going to give their best effort, and the Texans just hit them right in the mouth. On that drive, the Houston Texans were the hammer and the Tennessee Titans were the nail.
Remember when these two teams played in Week 7, Arian Foster and Ben Tate both had 100-yard games. Rackers on to kick the extra point. And with 5:15 left to go in the first, it is a 7-0 Texans lead. Tate finds the end zone. And we're back. 13 plays on the drive. The Texans started from their own 10-yard line. Yates was sacked for a loss of 5, but then 12 straight positive plays as they marched 95 yards down the field. And just a moment ago, T.J. Yates heading to the locker room.
Yeah, and there's nothing worse than that for the Texans. And you think about their quarterback room, they've got a lot of experience, but this is the guy who's starting, the young guy out of North Carolina. That leaves Jake Delhomme as the next man up.
And the ball goes out of bounds. Rackers does his job. 7-0. Delhomme is ready to go.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Droid Razor by Motorola. Droid strong, razor sharp. And by the next generation Honda Civic. To each their own.
Matt Hasselbeck and the Titans threw on all 6 plays on their first possession, 1st and 10. And finally they run it. Chris Johnson cuts it back inside and brought down just past the 25-yard line by Kareem Jackson.
Well, there you go. There's Jeff Garcia, Jake Delhomme, Matt Schaub. I mean, Jeff Garcia, 3 Pro Bowls, Super Bowl, Pro Bowl, and right now they're wishing the rookie would come out of the locker room so he can get back in the game.
2nd and 4. We're trying to get an update on his situation. We'll pass that along to you as soon as we have it. Hasselbeck will pick up the blitz, tipped away and incomplete. It is fascinating when you think of how much experience is in that quarterback room during the week for the Houston Texans. Every guy there has either made the Pro Bowl, quarterbacked in a Super Bowl, or won the Heisman Trophy, except for the guy who started today. And you expect to be your quarterback in the franchise's first playoff game here next week.
But there's a lot of experience there that's got to come to the aid of Jake Delhomme as well. I mean, he's a guy that's been to the Super Bowl. And so there's not any panic over there, no question about it. But there is some thought going into what's going to happen next on their offensive side of the football for the Texans.
3rd and 4 for the Titans. Hasselbeck. Down he goes. Antonio Smith. 5.5 sacks now on the season for Smith.
Well, the Titans came out and had a pretty good first drive, although it stalled on a missed third down, and now their defense has really turned it up a notch. A five-man rush gets to Hasselbeck. I mean, he has nowhere to go. He has to pull the football down, and the pocket completely collapses around him. That Texans defense turned it up about 2 notches on that series.
42nd quarterback sack of the season for the Texans as they extend their franchise record. KO toward the sideline, and it goes out of bounds. 3:59 left to go in the first. 7-0 Houston, and here comes Jake Delhomme. Jake Delhomme was signed by the Texans at the end of November. This is his first action in a Houston Texans uniform. 1st and 10. And he's going to throw on first down out to Andre Johnson. Forward progress, got him out to about the 40-yard line. Jason McCourty made the stop after a pickup of 5.
You talk about Jake Delhomme, and he's a guy who's been around the league for a while. He knows where his bread is buttered. They want to get the ball to this guy. They want to get the rust worked off of Andre Johnson. They need some things to happen well, but with Jake Delhomme in there, he's been here a month. He's suited up for 4 games, as you said, but this is his first action on the field.
Off the power I formation, off right tackle, Tate. And once again, let's send you to JB and Boomer in New York for an update.
Jets ahead, Boomer.
And Steve, talk about buttering bread. How about Mark Sanchez? Great play action fake. He's going to find Dustin Keller wide open in the back of the end zone. They take the lead 7-3 over Miami in the first quarter.
Always a food reference when they're involving me, Bill. Back to Bill and Steve.
Thanks, guys. If the Titans win today, the Jets are out of the playoff picture regardless of what happens there in Miami. 3rd and 2. Jake Delhomme in at quarterback. TJ Yates is in the locker room. And that was in and out of the hands of Kevin Walter. Normally sure-handed.
It's a pretty good throw by Delhomme. You got to think about, Delhomme is a guy coming in who's been in the league so long. He came back from Tommy John surgery in 2007 to quarterback the Panthers, and that's good defense there by McCourty. Almost ended up in a tipped interception to Griffin.
So we'll see Matt Turk, Mark Mariani back deep, standing at his own 10-yard line. Mariani averaging over 10 yards a return. And still on his feet. Finally, out of bounds. Wow. Brian Bremen didn't have his helmet on.
No helmet, Bremen.
But tackled as if he did. And that's when you know you got a tough defense.
Yeah, and leads with his...
Now, is that helmet to helmet or not?
I technically know.
Wow. That was a collision.
That is your instincts taking over as a football player and not your intelligence. He's going to have a knot on his head. Mark my words, he got it on the side of his head.
Rookie out of West Texas A&M.
Listen, you almost got to check him for concussion before he made that tackle, let alone after.
First down. Johnson scrambles his way across the 30 to the 31. Keep your fantasy football season going with Playoff Challenge and compete against the nation for a chance to win $5,000. Sign up now at cbssports.com/challenge.
Well, that's a football player right there. For good, bad, or worse.
Chris Johnson came in needing 14 yards to reach 1,000 for the 4th straight season. Near the 35-yard line. And he's 1 yard shy of 1,000 now.
Yeah, and that's 1,000 is still a benchmark, but there's no question Chris Johnson and Titans fans and the team they're disappointed in the season he has had after the holdout that was well publicized. He has not regained the form that earned him that big contract that he held out for and got.
Jamie Harper has checked in on third down. Empty backfield for Hasselbeck. 3rd and 3. And that is caught. And a nice play by Nate Washington with yards after the catch to the 43.
He'll complete this pass to Nate Washington, and as he's tackled, he walks up in his offensive line. He's yelling, screaming, clapping his hands, cheerleading, trying to keep this team's fire burning. He knows they're in a tussle, and he's also a quarterback who's taking the team to the playoffs.
Trying to take his team to the postseason for the 7th time in 11 years as a starter. 1st and 10 for Tennessee. Hasselbeck gets rid of it. There's a marker down on the other side of the field. Pass is caught by Jared Cook at the 40-yard line of the Texans.
And that looks like just a regular crossing. That was a sensational catch by Cook and a great throw by Hasselbeck. It's going to be encroachment on the defense. I think it's going to be declined. They'll take the play.
Offside. Defense number 98 in the neutral zone at the snap. Penalty declined. Play results in a first down.
Connor Barwin, who has been spectacular with 11.5 sacks here in his 3rd year out of Cincinnati. TJ Yates coming back out to the bench area.
You know, and given what this game means to the Texans, Yates may have a hangnail. They just don't want to put him back in.
Johnson tries to find some running room and gets it down close to the 35-yard line. So that's the end of the first quarter, and we'll return to Houston after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Chris Johnson going over 1,000 yards for the 4th straight season and joining some pretty good company in accomplishing that. And after a slow start, he's put together a decent second half of the season. 3 100-yard games as he exploded for 190 against the Bucks. Followed that up with 153 against the Bills, but he's been held in check over the last 3 weeks. CJ left side with some running room. Chris Johnson up the sideline and pushed out of bounds. Inside the 10, down to the 8 by Glover Quinn.
Watch how fast they get to the corner. This is going to go out. Everybody's going to get in front of him. Watch how fast they get to the edge of this defense. He is so fast, the defense can't even get there in time to cut him off. And Glover Quinn takes the angle and barely gets him out of bounds. Johnson is outrunning the angle, and if Glover Quinn is 1 step late, that's a touchdown.
And he was sprung on a very good block by Mark Mariani. Johnson slips, picks up a couple.
Yeah, tripped over the back leg of his offensive lineman there just as he was about ready to bounce that to the outside. You see there.
We've had some pretty good running backs in the history of this franchise, of course. Earl Campbell, Tyler Rose did all of his damage playing for the Houston Oilers. Jamie Harper has checked in now. The boot for Hasselbeck. Ahmad Hall brought down hard. Big, powerful fullback in his 6th year out of Texas.
And Daniel Manning puts the exclamation point at the end of this tackle. Brooks Reed chasing, and watch, bang, there's the big hit by Manning. He comes in and you see him lead with his shoulder. He puts his head down so he doesn't get helmet to helmet. Doesn't really need to do that with Ahmad Hall. He's not a defenseless runner, but he comes in and makes the big hit and stops him short of the goal line.
Brooks Reed, the rookie out of Arizona State, the 2nd-round draft pick, and he has been a great addition to this Houston defense. 3rd and goal. And now the Texans want to take a timeout. 13-13 left to play in the half. Titans are threatening. Mike Munchak and the Tennessee Titans need things to fall into place for them to come back and play the wild card game next week. But first and foremost, they have to beat the Texans today here in Houston. 3rd and goal The Titans trail by 7. Hasselbeck will go from the gun. 3 receivers left. And he goes that way, incomplete, over the head of Jared Cook. And we'll see the field goal unit.
Well, we saw it. We said it in the open. Jared Cook's going to be a factor down there, and you see him right on the inside back row of that cluster, and that's just a high throw from Hasselbeck. Allen there. There's you see Wade Phillips. I'll tell you what, you want to talk about free agent signings, that is the best free agent signing in the National Football League this season.
Back after successful gallbladder and kidney surgery, as we see Rob Baronis, who has missed just once since week 3. From 21 yards out, and he's got it. So the Tennessee Titans are on the board with 13:06 left to play in the half. 7-3.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon, your 4G LTE smartphone destination. FedEx, we understand. You need reliable shipping solutions. FedEx. And by Jaguar. See the new model year lineup at JaguarUSA.com.
We're back, and the word we get is that TJ Yates is fine. He's got the ball cap on, so we may have seen the last of him today after going 4-4 for 47 yards. And Steve, if you look ahead to the postseason, it's probably not a bad idea to get Jake Delhomme some reps here.
Yeah, and you get the idea that it's not completely unscripted that Yates comes out after one series in this game. I mean, they gave him a full week's work getting ready for this game. In fact, Kubiak told us they added some things to make it more challenging for him, so that maybe next week as the playoffs begin in a normal week, it'll feel like a relief to him, maybe feel a little more simple as they get ready for those games.
Baronis, after the 21-yard field goal, kicks it away to Quentin Demps, who's taken over the Texans' return duties. And he battles his way out to around the 26-yard line. Thought the fantasy football season was over? It's not. Play NFL.com Playoff Challenge today, and you could win a trip to Super Bowl 47 in New Orleans. Sign up for free at NFL.com/fantasy. The Texans have never lost a final regular season game under Gary Kubiak. Houston is 5-0 in Week 17 since Gary took over. They lead 7-3. Play action. Delhomme threw it behind Derek Ward. And we've got a marker down on the field across the way.
This is against the Texans.
Illegal formation. Offense, number 83, covered to the tight end. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
So they'll move him back. Once again, let's check in for an update here in the final week of the regular season with JB and Boomer in New York.
The hot Niners. How about this? Jim Kelly threw 100 of these to Andre Reed. He takes it down the sideline. Michael Crabtree, 28 yards. Niners win. They're the number 2 seed in the NFC.
Bill Mack, Steve Tasker.
All right, men, thank you.
Boomer's got some scar tissue from those teams.
They run the screen out to Dreesen, the tight end. And he's tripped up near the 23-yard line by Jarrell Casey. Casey, the third-round pick out of USC, who really brings it on every down. He has played well since taking over as a starter at defensive tackle. 69 stops, 4 for loss, 6 quarterback pressures to go along with the sack. And the big man goes off to the sideline. 2nd and 14. Ward, the lone setback. Muscles his way out to the 23-yard line.
Yeah, and there's no question the Texans are going to lean on that running game as they have all season, except Arian Foster's been the guy. Gary Kubiak, you know, as a head coach, he's really got to do some mental gymnastics for a game like this. Do you play these guys or not? I mean, Gary Kubiak was on the sidelines when the Patriots came in here in 2009 with everything sewed up, and Wes Welker blows his knee out untouched on a pass route. So he knows firsthand, has seen it on another team, what can happen when you play your guys late in a meaningless game.
Delhomme steps up, delivers. And that was intended for Jacoby Jones. And Jason McCourty did a good job knocking it away.
That looked like McCourty was all over him. Watch as he comes in. He's going to ride him all the way in. And that's a pretty good defensive play. There's not going to be any interference on that. That was excellent coverage. And it looks, and Jake Delhomme saw what I saw, it looked like McCourty was pulling him and dragging him, but he didn't. I mean, he played that extremely well. There was contact, but that's exactly how a defender has to play it. It's a good no call.
So the Texans with 2 3 and outs after a great opening drive. Turk's punt. Mariani will have some running room. A flag is already down. And just nowhere to go. Brought down at around the 31. A 51-yard punt. Let's check the penalty.
These flags back near the end of the punt, at the other end of the field, not down with the line of scrimmage. And actually, there is one at the line of scrimmage as well. There's 2 of them. Somebody stepped out of bounds. That's why that official doesn't have his hat on. So he might not have made an effort to come back in. It could be one of those penalties.
Ron Winter steps away from the board meeting.
There are 2 fouls on the play. During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 27, kicking team. During the return, personal foul, face mask, number 54, kicking team. That penalty would be assessed 15 yards, first down.
So we'll sort everything out and return right after this. 7-3 Houston. And we're back. Take a look at that quarterbacking talent on the Texans sideline.
Yeah, 5 quarterbacks and their quarterback coach, Greg Knapp, sitting down there with Delhomme. That's crowded. They had to put more chairs in the quarterback meeting room to finish the season.
Over 100 years of NFL experience in that group. After the penalty from the 46-yard line, good field position to start for Tennessee, but Hasselbeck is swarmed under from behind. Sacked again by Antonio Smith, who has his 2nd sack of the game.
Just a straight 4-man rush. Antonio Smith is just going to come right here, just pushes the pocket right back. Leroy Harris just gets pushed right back into Hasselbeck. Just gets underneath Harris's pads, gets leverage, and drives his legs right back in on the quarterback. Great job, just a bull rush gets done.
Titans offensive line has done a good job protecting Hasselbeck, allowing just 21 sacks. That's tied for the fewest in the league. Hasselbeck again gets rid of it. It's caught, but stopped about a yard short of the first down as Lavelle Hawkins. Excuse me, the original line of scrimmage. They still have 11 more yards to go for a first down.
And you can tell, and we've talked about the philosophy that Gary Kubiak brings into this. It also spills over under the defensive calls. You don't want to show anything to anybody who's looking at your team trying to sky. So Wade Phillips bringing a straight 4-man rush, no exotic blitzes, no strange coverages. Matt Hasselbeck should be able to pick a simple defense apart if he has the time to throw it.
5 receivers set, empty backfield. Hasselbeck, lots of time, finally checks it down to Hawkins and pushed out of bounds around midfield, well short of the first down.
And that front 4 of the Texans is really doing a nice job of rushing the passer. And Hawkins just kind of backs up and makes himself available. The Texans really solid in the secondary. You know, you look at this team and it's nice. This is a great year for them. They're making the playoffs. But it's a team here in Houston that is built to be good for years in the future.
So the Titans unable to take advantage of good field position. KO lets it go. And that is a very nice coffin corner punt.
Yeah, you can't do it any better than that. That was a tremendous punt. And they got it right.
Spotted at the 3-yard line.
It was a tremendous spot by the official. It lands right next to the official, so it can't be out of the end zone. It lands to his left. He's right on the pylon. He He doesn't look for the ball, he listens for the bounce. And then he knows where that ball landed. If it's outside of him, it's in the field of play. If it's behind him, that means it's through the end zone.
So a 97-yard field for the Texans, who lead it 7-3. 9:33 left to play in the half. Jake Delhomme took over at quarterback after the opening series. Delhomme, who led Carolina to the Super Bowl back in 2003, had a Pro Bowl year in 05. Tate nearly trapped for a safety. Great penetration by Casey, the rookie.
A tremendous play by that guy out of USC. Watch as he just absolutely knifes in right past Caldwell. I mean, that is a tremendously quick play for a guy that's over 300 pounds. I mean, he knifed in and got right into the backfield, right at the point of attack.
And you see how close they are now to the goal line. Power I formation. Tate. And there's a marker down. We might have encroachment.
We might have given that play right back to the Texans.
Offside. Defense number 99. In the neutral zone to snap. 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Well, that so many times happens to a young player. One good play, one bad one. Casey, the third-round draft pick, right here, just jumps in, can't get back before the ball is snapped. And he gives that good play right back to the Texans.
A little breathing room for Houston. 2nd and 7. Play action. Delhomme from the goal line. Slings it and caught. Casey, the tight end.
Wow, that's a great veteran play by Jake Delhomme. You saw him step up in the pocket. Watch as the rusher on the outside goes right by him. Morgan goes too far. He just steps up, nice, cool, and steps right up into the middle of the field and then wings it out to the sideline. Great patient play fake. Great job by the quarterback. Great protection by the offensive line.
A gain of 21. 1st and 10 for Houston. Ward cuts it back inside. Derek Ward. Out across the 40 to the 43-yard line. Dave Ball finally made the stop after a pickup of 16 yards.
Yeah, Ward was so patient. Didn't get in a big hurry. Watch him bounce this to the outside, then back inside, steps up through, runs through the arm tackle, gets every yard coming to him as the Titans have a hard time getting 2 hands and 2 arms around him. Keeps brushing off arm tackles, runs right through that one. Great job, great patient run.
6 carries, 37 yards. Not much there on 1st down. The path to the postseason for Tennessee is not a straight line, but the 2 must-haves are that Tennessee has to beat Houston and Cincinnati has to lose later today against Baltimore. After that, it gets a little bit murky. They're in if the Jets win and either the Raiders or the Broncos lose or tie, or they'll get in if the Jets lose or tie and the Raiders and the Broncos both win. So lots of combinations can impact the Titans' fortunes today. Delhomme on 2nd and 10 loses the football. And looks like the Titans may have come away with it.
They did.
They've got it.
Yeah, Jake Delhomme stepped up in the pocket, but one defender just got out and reached and ripped it out.
Chris Hope, who is coming on the safety blitz.
Well, they sent extra pressure, and right there you see it. That was Dave Ball who stripped it as he comes in right there, reaches in with his left arm, and Delhomme had 2 hands on it. The ball got enough of it to strip it.
Dave Ball started today for Jason Jones. He has had a solid season, 3 sacks, 13 quarterback pressures, and the strip there. Great opportunity for the Tennessee Titans as they trail 7-3. Ahmad Hall, the fullback, playing at tailback, and he's down inside the 30 to the 29-yard line, a gain of 4.
Yeah, we said coming into this game, the one thing the Texans wanted to accomplish with all the things that make this game different for them, the lack of meaningful position changes in the playoffs, they wanted to clean it up. They wanted to cut down on their penalties. They wanted to cut down on their turnovers. They wanted to stop making mental mistakes. They had a pretty good opening drive on both sides of the football, but they're starting to go a little bit sideways now.
5 receivers set, empty backfield for Hasselbeck. Middle of the field, Cook, the tight end. And he's down inside the 5 to the 4-yard line.
And this guy, such a big target. Not a great blocker in the run game is Jared Cook, but I'll tell you what, when you're throwing it, he's turned into one of the most dangerous tight ends going in the last quarter of this season.
2 catches for 42 yards, first and goal for the Tennessee Titans. Johnson muscles his way down close to the 3. Danielle Manning, the free safety, brought him down.
Yeah, and you think about how this game's going. The Texans were just down here doing the exact thing they're doing now. They had a goal line stand. They held the Titans to a field goal the last time. It was just one series ago with the turnover. Now they're right back in the same spot again, being asked to save the touchdown again.
Inside of 5 minutes remaining in the half. Johnson alone in the backfield. He gets it off the left side. Down to the 1. Chris Johnson, who went over 1,000 yards for the season earlier today.
Little counter play. As you see, Jake Scott pulling around from his right guard spot, coming around to lead Johnson up through the hole, almost getting enough to get in there, not quite.
Connor Barwin, who has had an outstanding season, made the stop, so 3rd and goal for the Titans. Harper in the backfield with Hasselbeck. To the end zone. Donnie Avery. Signed by the Titans back in September when Kenny Britt went down. That's his first catch as a member of the Tennessee Titans.
And for the second time, they went right after Jason Allen, the reserve who was in place of their Pro Bowler, Jonathan Joseph. They went once with Jared Cook last series. This time, they get it done.
So Rob Baronis is on to try the extra point. Titans finding the end zone. He boots it through. 3:48 left to play in the half. And the Tennessee Titans lead it on the touchdown pass to Donnie Avery.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. And by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Titans able to capitalize on the turnover. They are in a must-win situation. Donnie Avery signed back in September, his first catch, and he made it a good one as a member of the Tennessee Titans. This is the Texans' 100th game here at Reliant Stadium, which opened back in 2002. All 100 games have been sellouts, and game number 101 will be next week. Texans' first ever playoff game. Baronis kicks it away to Quentin Dimps. And he takes a knee. 7 yards deep in the end zone. Let's take another look, Steve, at the touchdown.
Well, there's a lot going on. You look at the bottom of your screen, all the attention goes over here, but what you don't know is there's single coverage right here. And watch, as soon as Allen realizes what route's being run, the ball's already halfway there. And Avery makes the grab. Perfect throw by Hasselbeck. Puts a lot of zip on it and makes sure that route happens so fast that the defender can't even react, let alone make a play on it.
Tony Avery, who was originally a second-round pick by the Rams in 08, had 100 catches and 8 touchdowns in his first 2 seasons with St. Louis. Now a member of the Tennessee Titans. Center of the field, Andre Johnson. And a late flag comes in.
This came from the head official, Ron Winter. We'll see what he threw the flag on.
Personal foul, number 94 defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Call it on Derek Marks.
No explanation. I don't know what he did.
So after the gain of 16, they'll tack on a little more.
Well, this is Andre Johnson's second catch of the day, both from Jake Delhomme.
We expected to see him for about 15 snaps today after missing a total of 9 games this season.
With 2 separate injuries. Right hamstring, left hamstring. And really, the first injury really led to the second one.
But getting healthy at the right time. Well, just into Tennessee territory. Underneath to Casey, who has had a productive half. Close to the sticks, Akeem Ayers made the stop.
Yeah, it's no surprise to me that Jake Delhomme is throwing the football a little better this drive. He came off after that strip fumble, and he was hot about turning that football over. And when that happens, a quarterback wants to come in and make amends for it. He doesn't get that many opportunities. He wants to make the most of them.
2nd and 1 after the pickup of 9. They come with a blitz. Houston runs it. Tape upended. But he's going to have enough for the first down.
You're going to get, a steady diet of the run game from the Texans and play action. You see there, Yates on the sidelines. They took him in to look at him, and I don't know, do you x-ray a hangnail? There's no question. TJ Yates, there's not too much wrong with him that he couldn't come back in the game in an emergency. But that's how valuable he's become to this franchise. They don't want to risk him getting an injury in a game that can't help or hurt them.
Delhomme and the Texans trying to answer. They toss it back to Derek Ward, trying to get to the corner, and he's going to be stopped for a loss. Will Witherspoon, the veteran linebacker, made the stop, as that takes us to the 2-minute warning. 10-7 Titans here in Houston. Back here on New Year's Day in Houston, and coming up on the Sprint Halftime Report, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cowher for all the latest NFL scores and highlights from Week 17. That's all coming up from New York on the Sprint Halftime Report. 10-7 ball game. Tennessee Titans in a must-win situation to have a chance to come back here for the wild card game next week. And that is caught. What a grab by Casey.
Well, that was a
Tremendous focus.
Yeah, that was a tremendous play on both ends. Delhomme does a great job just getting this off. You see the pressure coming right in his face, and look at the tip catch by Casey. Great poise, great concentration, and pretty good catch.
Casey is not even a full-time tight end. He was drafted as a tight end, but has played a lot at fullback. Playing today because Owen Daniels is inactive. 3rd and 6. Houston trying to keep this drive alive. They run the slant. That was almost picked off. Tremendous break on the ball by Jason McCourty.
Yeah, McCourty, he sat on this route. Watch, he's just looking. He sees the break and just goes right towards the quarterback. Great angle, great defensive play. That's film study by a cornerback right there. You know he's seen that route and has seen Jones run that route on film. He knew what he was looking at, and he almost picked it off for 6 points.
So Neil Racker's on to try a 52-yard field goal. Had 3 field goals last week against the Colts. On its way. Plenty of leg. And we are all tied up at 10.
That's a great kick off natural service. Great snap and hold. Matt Turk getting it down, and you see that they always tilt it a little bit away from the kicker on soccer-style kickers. And man, that is right down the pipe. That's a great kick from 52. That would have been good from 60 on a grass surface. He knows what kind of kick that was. That's a feather in his cap.
And once again, coming up with the Sprint halftime report, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores and highlights from this busy Sunday. That's all coming up on the Sprint halftime report.
See some of the people sitting here in the game. There on the right of your screen, the red shirt is Bum Phillips, and the red tie is with the stripes is Mr. McNair, the owner of the Houston Texans. You see Bum Phillips there next to him. He does not. He doesn't have his hat on. You never see him without his hat, except that the roof is closed today.
Exactly. You're inside. 88 years old. Came out to practice and saw his son, Wade, who's back after his kidney and gallbladder surgery, back up calling the plays from the coach's box. But Bum is a revered figure here in this part of Texas. Mike Munchak, who had a lot of success playing in the offensive line, 13 years here in Houston. Mariani will take a knee. Matt Hasselbeck with 1:09 to work with on the clock.
And I think you're Tennessee a minute 9. You're in a must-win game. 3 timeouts. You turn your veteran quarterback completely loose. And in my opinion, this is a point where you let a veteran quarterback call the plays. He knows what he wants. He's had a whole half to look at this defense. You know you're not getting really exotic rushes. You turn him loose and let him go no huddle with 3 timeouts. You just give the game to Matt Hasselbeck.
From the gun. The delay, Johnson. Nice open field tackle. Kareem Jackson made the stop. Texans first-round pick a year ago, started all 16 games last year. 20th overall pick back in 2010.
And now they're huddling up, taking their time, not taking a timeout. Looks like they're pretty content just to run the clock out with about 40 seconds and counting when this ball snapped.
Chris Palmer, offensive coordinator, on the sideline. Hasselbeck. And that is caught. Again, it's Jared Cook. And he's got it to the 36-yard line.
And that first down gives you the option to call the timeout. But with 30 seconds left, you wasted some time. You got all your timeouts. I don't know why they did not take a timeout after that Chris Johnson run on first down and save all that time. Because now, after that completion, a couple of more completions like that, you're in field goal range. I mean, I'm puzzled by that. I think that's a mistake.
Tennessee with 2 timeouts remaining. Last play was good for 13 yards. Solid half for Jared Cook. 3 catches, 55 yards.
I think Matt Hasselbeck has done enough this season to earn the trust of the coaching staff that he can handle a situation like this and use those timeouts and conserve time.
He's been a starter, Matt Hasselbeck, for 11 seasons, including this year, and trying to take his team to the playoffs for the 7th time. Hasselbeck underneath to Johnson. He's got some running room. Chris Johnson into Texan territory and out of bounds at the 48.
See, and that now you got 22 seconds left instead of 45 seconds left, and that's all because you wouldn't use that timeout. You're inside their territory, and this is exactly the kind of play you need, and this is why Chris Johnson is so dangerous. He's caught in the middle of the field, and he can outrun everybody to the sidelines for a big gain and stop the clock. Another 15 yards, and they're well within field goal range.
Rob Baronis has a strong leg in his career. He's 18 of 22 from 50 plus. Hasselbeck going deep and over the head of Jamie Harper, who was all alone.
All alone. Hasselbeck threw that one too far. He threw it from the left hash going to the right sideline and is just out of reach. You'll watch the defender is going to be on the ground trying to get up, and he can't get back up. That's Jackson. who ends up stumbling, and that could have been a touchdown had Hasselbeck put it on the money.
So 17 seconds left. Hasselbeck trying to hit Nate Washington, and that was batted away by Bryce McCain.
Great job by McCain.
McCain, the Texans nickel. 3rd and 10.
Now you'll watch, he's just going to come right in, perfectly defended. Doesn't even touch the guy.
13 ticks of the clock left. Must-win situation for Tennessee. Hasselbeck, center of the field, Avery. And he's down within field goal range.
Now they take the timeout as well, and and that is an enormous play with 5 seconds left on the clock. It looked like they totally mismanaged it at the beginning of this drive by leaving time or letting time tick off the clock, but Matt Hasselbeck with a couple of good completions salvages the field goal opportunity.
23 yards on 3rd and 10. And all of a sudden, Donnie Avery has come up big.
Yeah, coming into the game with no catches.
We saw Damian Williams head to the locker room earlier, so that is probably why we're seeing Avery. Baronis is out. Had 2 51-yard field goals last week against Jacksonville, and over the last 5 seasons, he is 18 of 22, as we said, from 50 plus.
They may challenge that last play because the ball came out late, and there may be a review from upstairs. It doesn't look like there's gonna be, but that ball came out at the end of that play, and then nobody saw it.
This one will be from 43 yards away to give the Titans the lead. And he's got it. Another big kick from Rob Baronis, who has been money. He has missed just once since week 3. And that will take us to halftime. We'll be back with the Sprint halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on 10 Titans as we're ready to start the 3rd quarter. Bill McAtee back with Steve Tasker here in Houston. And the Titans, Steve, with everything to play for. Your thoughts on the first half?
Well, it was a well-played first half by both sides. Even the Houston Texans with sitting some of their key players and sitting down T.J. Yates after one series, Arian Foster being inactive, Jonathan Joseph not playing. They've played extremely well, played hard. And although you can see now later as the half wore on, the Texans started to simplify everything, particularly defensively. Matt Hasselbeck able to get that 2-minute going and get the field goal opportunity, although I thought they could have had enough time to get a touchdown opportunity.
All right, let's show you a highlight from the first half. Our Droid Razor play presented by Motorola. Matt Hasselbeck to Donnie Avery. He makes his first catch as a Titan to give Tennessee a 10-7 lead. 13-10 now. Matt Hasselbeck, who has played well in the first half, needed 147 yards today to become the 25th player in NFL history to go over 33,000 yards in his career. 350 yards passing a week ago for the 22nd 300-yard game of his career. Texans will have the football to start the second half. Quentin Demps back deep, waiting the kick from Rob Baronis. Here we go, half number 2. And that will sail out of the end zone for a touchback. Let's take a look, Steve, at the first half numbers.
Now you see the rushing yards are pretty even. The passing yards, Titans and Matt Hasselbeck, as you said, Hasselbeck continuing to have a really good year. I thought he kind of figured some things out just as the first half was closing. Penalty yards, only 2 for 20 for the Texans. With the time of possession pretty even. This is a well-played game. It's very close, and obviously the 3-point difference makes it close on the scoreboard as well.
Texans came in ranked 4th in the AFC on offense, 2nd on the ground, 8th in the passing game. They hadn't scored more than 20 points in a game since week 10, and they got 37 against Tampa Bay. And finally an opening for Tate, and he exploits it. Here he goes. Brought down from behind by Jason McCourty, who saved a touchdown.
Well, I'll tell you what, as impressive as this run was by Tate, look at the great run, a missed tackle right there. As you saw it, Marks had a chance to tackle him in the backfield. No such luck. Tate runs, and McCourty just walks him down. McCourty showing off the wheels right there. It should have been a tackle for a loss. Tate makes it into an enormous play.
Derek Marks almost had him in the backfield. So 1st and 10, Ward, and a late flag.
And 2 different flags.
Let's hear from Ron Winter.
Personal foul, clipping, number 89, offense. 15-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Brian Johnson called for the clip.
They're coming in right there. As you see him, he's going to go in, and there he caught Morgan on the back of the leg there, and you can't do that coming from outside. Now, as an offensive lineman at the snap of the ball, you can do that, but that's clearly a clip. And that's a good call by the official from Bryant Johnson.
So they spotted at the 39-yard line. 1st and 25. They have to go all the way to the 14 for a first down. Ward. A very similar run to what we saw a few minutes ago with Ben Tate. Seemingly stopped for a loss, able to reverse his field and pick up some big yardage.
You see him run right in there, and you're going to see a tackle that's just missed. Sorry, absolutely the wrong direction. You see there, he had to stop, and the pursuit is just not there. Right there is the drag down tackle at the end of that run. That's just the run game taken over for the Texans.
After the gain of 11, and that time swarmed under has been Tate. Michael Griffin, free safety, coming on the blitz, led the charge.
Now, so many they run this zone blocking run game that is so productive for the Texans. It's up to the backside of the defensive line, defensive front, to make those tackles on the cutback. And there you saw a couple of guys in position to do it. And on that last run, nobody was there.
Tate came in 55 yards away from a 900-yard season. Perhaps he's thinking 1,000. Empty backfield. Jones, Jacoby Jones, muscles his way down to the 18-yard line. Akeem Ayers brought him down.
Well, after the personal foul on the clipping penalty, the Texans do a nice job getting it down inside the 20 to attempt the field goal. And this was a great pump and pulling the string on it by Jake Delhomme. He wanted to throw that football very quickly, but he had a defender right in his face. He had to pull it down and wait for the defender to come back out of the air so he could get over the top of him.
And there's a Texan down on the field at about the 26-yard line.
It's Derek Newton.
Derek Newton, the Texans swing offensive tackle, can play on either side. And this is what you are absolutely concerned about if you're Gary Kubiak, getting an injury here in a game that in essence is meaningless for your team. They're the number 3 seed, win or lose.
It looked like his knee got hyperextended, but it's impossible to tell. I've seen players pull a hamstring on plays like that as well, where they get bent over their own stiffened leg, and that was a muscle injury rather than a knee injury or something of that nature. But one thing that Gary Kubiak and the Texans don't want is anybody to get hurt in this game.
Arian Foster, Owen Daniels, and Jonathan Joseph all inactive today. There's Arian Foster, who's had just a tremendous season, had 158 yards on 23 carries a week and a half ago against the Colts. Let's see if we can pick up the injury in that. You got to go to a lot of yoga classes to be able to bend like that.
Yeah, I know there's some professional hurdlers that can't get into that position. Yeah, there's a lot of 185-pound guys in the league that can't bend like that. And the guy's 6'6", 307. That's a tough position to get into.
So timeout on the field here in Houston. 13-10 Tennessee. The big man Derek Newton able to leave the field under his own power, so being tended to on the sideline. Neil Racker's on to try a 37-yard field goal. Already has one from 52. And punches it through. And once again, we're all tied up. 13 apiece, 11:46 left to go in the third.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Autotrader.com. Now find brand spanking new cars and special offers on Autotrader.com. And by Pizza Hut. Right now, get any pizza for just $10 only at your Pizza Hut.
Titans in a must-win situation today. They also need a few other things to fall into place to earn a return trip here next week for the wild card game.
Yeah, there's, as you said in the open, 123 permutations of playoff scenarios. They make your head explode thinking about it too much. But there's one team, the Jets, would love the Texans to win this game.
That's just because if the Titans win, the Jets are out regardless. Mariani lets it sail out of the end zone. They'll bring it out to the 20. Well, from NCIS and CSI to The Good Wife and The Mentalist. If you're looking for the best in drama, you need to look only one place. Only CBS. And we've had some pretty good drama here today. Tied at 13. De facto playoff game for the Tennessee Titans. Matt Hasselbeck brings him up. 1st and 10 from the 20. Changing the play. Hasselbeck sacked. Brian Brayman and Jesse Nading met at Hasselbeck.
And you'll see Brayman right at the bottom of your screen rushing on Chris Johnson. Brayman, he's the guy who made the helmetless tackle in the first half on kickoff. Now being attended to on the sideline. You can make a tackle with your helmet off and then get hurt sacking a quarterback. This game is nuts.
A loss of 7. 2nd and 17. Empty backfield. 5 receivers. Hasselbeck underneath. Cook. And the big man rumbles out to the 21-yard line. Quinn made the stop. Yeah, that was good for 8 yards.
Yeah, the Tennessee Titans are getting nothing but a 4-man rush. So these receivers know they're going to get some coverage back there. They're going to have to get good separation in the secondary. You see there, Cook ends up double covered. Hasselbeck standing tall in the pocket, finds Cook. But Hasselbeck knows right now that the defense is uncomplicated, but his offensive line has to stand up to the rush. If they can, they're going to score some points.
Again, 5 receivers in the set. Empty backfield for Hasselbeck. Over the middle. Incomplete. Was trying to hit Nate Washington, who had a step, but couldn't quite lay it in there.
Well, Hasselbeck threw it in the middle of Nate Washington. Both safeties and the nickelback are following him. You see there. That's Glover Quinn and both safeties. I mean, and this is the coverage on the outside on Harper, the running back. And usually that's Chris Johnson out there. But Harper taking the split, he gets open as well.
So we'll see the punter, Brett Kern. Shiloh Ko standing back at the 35-yard line for the Texans, who come out of this with pretty good field position. But this is a very nice punt. Ko retreats back to the 21. And brought down hard at around the 32-yard line. 10-16 left to play in the third. That was a 58-yard punt. 9 trips to the Pro Bowl, playing in this city. Mike Munchak trying to cap his rookie season as a head coach with a return trip here next week. 1st and 10 from the 31-yard line. And that was almost picked off. Jacoby Jones had it in his hand, so did Michael Griffin, but incomplete.
Yeah, Delhomme just a little too long on that pass. Jacoby Jones couldn't pull it in, but he threw it to the right guy, had a guy open, just missed on the completion, and then to top it off, what should have been a really good play for the Texans almost turned into disaster as the ball got tipped. And this is such a close game. One of these plays is going to be the difference in this football game, and we'll have to wait and see which one it's going to be.
Tate. And I mean, he hit a wall. William Hayes, who missed the last 2 games with a groin injury, with the stop there.
Well, look at Ben Tate as you saw him get tackled for loss right there. It hasn't all been tough running. This is a great run there. Breaks loose on the nice run here. Shake and tackle, and the big run that really put them in position to get that last field goal and to tie this football game. We knew Ben Tate was going to carry the load as we came into this, and 99 total yards and a touchdown. He is not disappointed.
Tate came in with 4 100-yard games this season, one of those against the Tennessee Titans. Delhomme, lots of time, finally checks it underneath. Incomplete. That was intended for Jeff Mayle, the rookie out of Oregon, who spent most of the season on the practice squad, signed to the active roster on December 13th.
Yeah, Mayle was actually limited this week in practice with a hamstring injury, and there's so many guys on the roster, you know, that at this point of the season, every injury report you see come out of every team is a laundry list of injuries. Mayle, though, getting a chance to play today.
So we'll see Matt Turk in his 16th season in the NFL. Mariani back deep, retreats from the 14. Mariani, and a flag as Mariani is pushed out of bounds at around the 45-yard line.
Yeah, this is going to be a block in the back.
There's a 55-yard punt from Turk.
And this one's coming back.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 32 of the return team. 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
They call that on Robert Johnson.
And Alan Lowry, the special teams coordinator for the Titans.
9:08 left to go in the 3rd. We're tied.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by T. Rowe Price. Understanding the connections of a complex global economy. Invest with confidence. And by McDonald's. I'm loving it.
$19 yards on the return by Mariani, but they move it back 10 yards from the spot of the foul, so they'll start at the 23-yard line, 1st and 10. 9:08 left to go in the 3rd, a must-win game for the Tennessee Titans. Play action, Hasselbeck, lots of time, he's going to go deep, and that is caught. Nate Washington. And he is slow getting up. What a catch and what a throw by the veteran Hasselbeck.
Yeah, and this was just a huge play. Double tight end, so they get the hard play fake. The Texans think it's going to be a run on 1st down, but Hasselbeck puts that right on the money, and Washington pulls it in and then has trouble getting up, limps back to the bench area, and he doesn't look right. I mean, you can tell there he's in some pain.
55 yards. And the Titans are in business. There's Johnson in the flat, trying to get away, but couldn't. A nice open field tackle by Quentin Demps in his 4th year out of Texas, El Paso.
There's a good play call by Hasselbeck and the Titans. Chris Johnson out there. The Texans bring in an extra rusher off of that side, which leaves one-on-one coverage. If Chris Johnson can just catch it, break one tackle, it's going to be a big play. Great job by Demps making that tackle.
Tennessee with 210 yards passing today. Harper. Rumbles down close to the 15. Jamie Harper, the Titans' young rookie power back, scored his first NFL touchdown last week against Jacksonville. They're hoping he can bring a little of the thunder and lightning that the Titans had with Lindell White. 3rd and 3. Empty backfield, 5 receivers. Quick strike incomplete, intended for Avery.
Right through his hands. I'd had a chance to get a little something extra. Could have probably, for sure, gotten the first down if he just pulls this in. He comes back. You see there, McLean's gonna get blocked by Hall, and all he has to do is catch it and turn up and fall forward. It would have been a first down. Instead, it brings up the field goal attempt. That's a hard, thick pill to swallow for the Titans. That close.
So we'll see Rob Baronis on 4th and 3. On to try a 33-yard field goal. And that was close, but just inside the uprights. And Baronis still has missed just once since week 3. Titans regained the lead. Rob Baronis with 3 field goals on the day. His 33-yarder gives the Titans a 16-13 lead. That's set up by the 55-yard pass to Nate Washington. Quentin dips back deep for the Texans. Lets it bounce and takes a knee. So once again, Tennessee in a must-win situation. They have to win today, and Cincinnati has to lose later today against Baltimore. Then it gets a little bit unsettled. They'll get in if the Jets win, and either the Raiders or the Broncos lose or tie, or they'll get in if the Jets lose or tie, and the Raiders and the Broncos both win. There will be a quiz immediately following the game for you, Steve.
Do my eyes look glassed over after you said that? I'm trying to act interested in that.
Jets are
like I'm picking that all up.
Jets are winning, by the way, 10-6. 1st and 10. Whistle before the snap.
There's a false start on the Texans. You know, one thing you got to know as well, Cincinnati going up to play Baltimore.
Offense number 62.
Baltimore's got something to play for.
Remains first down.
So that's going to be quite the game.
All right, once again, let's send you back to New York. JB and Boomer with an update.
Breeze is having a pretty good year.
3rd TD pass of the game, 44th TD pass of the year to Jimmy Graham. 13th 300-yard game this season, 36th straight game of 20 or more completions. It looks like the Saints are going to be the number 3 seed in the NFC by virtue of San Francisco holding their own against St. Louis.
Bill McAtee and the guy who made the comment about scar tissue on Boomer, Steve Tasker.
Thank you, guys. We've had some great quarterback play throughout the year in the National Football League. Tate upended as he tries to turn the corner.
Imagine having the kind of year Drew Brees has had and getting the number 3 seed. That it is hard to get in that tournament, as the Tennessee Titans are finding out.
Tough to get noticed. The kind of play we've had from Brady, from Aaron Rodgers.
Tom Brady. Brees. Eli Manning as well, having a tremendous year in New York.
2nd and 14. Delhomme. Caught again by Casey, and he's come up big today. That's a first down for the Texans.
And that was a great catch by Casey. This ball's going to come up and be on his back shoulder, right down the right-hand hash mark out there, and he goes up and turns his whole body, and it looks easy, but sometimes you have to teach guys to go up with both hands and turn towards the football to grab it. You got to know, he knew he was going to get hit when he came down, but was there in time for him to flinch and maybe accept the hit. That's a great catch.
Good for 21 yards, 1st and 10. Now from the Houston 37-yard line. Keep it on the ground. This is Ward. Brought down at the 39 by Senderick Marks.
He bumped into his own guy, Lawrence Vickers, as Vickers was going to block the Titan defenders, but they had already ran all the way back into the backfield past Ward, so Vickers was actually the guy in the way. The Titans ran themselves out of the play and still made the play because they ran the blocker into the running back.
2nd and 8. Ryan Foster, Jonathan Joseph, and Owen Daniels all inactive today for the Houston Texans. And 2nd and 8. That's caught again by Casey, who apparently has been wasting his time at fullback. McCourty made the stop. Another first down.
Well, here you see right out, and this is just off coverage. McCourty's way off, guarding against the deep ball, and Casey, if that's going to be there, you can bet a veteran like Jake Delhomme is going to take it as he gets a big shot in the pocket from Shepard.
15 yards. 1st and 10 from the Tennessee 46-yard line. Back to the ground. Tate. Some nifty moves, and he is down to the 38-yard line. Babineau made the stop after a gain of 8.
Yeah, once again, a great block out in front of this play. You see there Casey coming around and just blowing up the defender. Tate's going to run right inside of him. You see a great block by Casey once again. Not only catching balls, he's also blocking in the run game. Great game.
Texans on the move. They trail by 3. 2nd and 2. Tate. Short of the first down. Babineau with another stop.
You know, that's a sure sign that this is a game that's a little bit different for the Houston Texans. You get a 2nd and 2, and a lot of times, particularly in offense like Houston and with a head coach like Gary Kubiak, you're doing nothing but throwing that football to the end zone on a 2nd and 2 inside your opponent's 40-yard line. But they're not going to do it. Andre Johnson eating sunflower seeds on the sidelines. They don't have their...
That's an indication he might be done for the day. Tate 13 carries, 91 yards. They toss it back to Tate. Leaps a man and has a first down.
Gary Kubiak, as you see this spread run play, cut his teeth as a player and as an assistant coach for the Denver Broncos. And the Denver Broncos won 2 world championships with this type of running attack. Terrell Davis was MVP of the Super Bowl. And this type of offense is built to play well in the playoffs because you can run against anybody and run against any front. Gary Kubiak knows that, and he's got a couple of backs that can get it done. This is going to be really interesting to see how far these Texans can go.
Tate gets a breather. Derek Ward is in the game. Play action. And that is caught. Garrett Graham, who has been inactive for the last 8 weeks. His first NFL reception, 24 yards on the play.
You got to tip your hat to Gary Kubiak and the coaching staff of the Texans. They are getting contributions from guys who haven't played much or had a chance to contribute all season. Jake Delhomme's a perfect example, the quarterback who was just picked up a month ago. And then you've got Graham running the deep crossing route, catching a tough ball. I mean, everybody's getting into the act. These Texans, they wanted to clean things up to get into the playoffs, and they're doing it today.
From the 11, 1st and 10. Texans are threatening, down by 3. Ward muscles his way down inside the 10 to the 9. Colin McCarthy, the rookie middle linebacker, with the stop.
Yeah, this is exactly what Kubiak has wanted. They wanted to come in, play a solid football game. They have not played well in the last 3 weeks. They've dropped a couple straight. They're trying to get their act cleaned up, cut down on penalties, cut down on mental mistakes, and they probably had some real concerns knowing they were going to sit down a lot of their stars. But the guys that they've plugged in have played extremely well.
10th play of the drive upcoming. Tate alone in the backfield. 2nd and 8. They can get a first down if they get it to the 1. Screen. Johnson picks up 2 or 3. McCourty again with the stop. And if you're Gary Kubiak, Steve, you also have to be happy with the play of Jake Delhomme. This is a guy who hadn't gotten any reps in live game action, and here he is playing well.
Yeah, and he's playing against a defense that's got to go all out to beat him. And that says a lot about the quality of offensive plays they can run with him in the game. He's not having any problems running this offense against a Titan defense that, let's face it, they've got to pull out all the stops, and he's playing extremely well against them.
13-year veteran who's been to the Super Bowl. On the move and a flag. We had some movement before the snap.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't blow that whistle dead.
Offside. Defense number 90. Penalize half the distance to the goal. Repeat, third down.
Derek Morgan in a little early.
Well, that turns a third and 7 or 8 into a 3rd and 1. He just busts into the backfield before the ball. And this is a thing that Delhomme does right, just tries to go down, and that looks bad if Morgan falls on the back of his legs.
So the clock continues to run inside of 20 seconds left in the third. Third down. To take us to the end of the quarter. Delhomme, just a calendar of time. Finally gets rid of it incomplete.
And there's a flag down at the goal line, and this is going to be defensive pass interference, I think.
Jacoby Jones was the intended receiver.
And Bryant Johnson was also at the goal line, and the flag was thrown right at him.
An eligible man downfield. Offense number 66. Penalties declined. Makes it 4th down.
So that's the end of the third quarter. And we'll return to Houston after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Neil Wacker's on to try to tie things up as we get started in the final period. Gary Kubiak, very strategic game for him. Texans already locked in as the number 3 seed regardless of the outcome today. They will host the wild card game next week. Got it from 22 yards out. So again, we've got a tie ball game, tied at 16. Mike Munchak, we talked about his brilliant playing career here, 9-time Pro Bowler. His number 63 was retired back in 1996. In 2001, he became the 5th player in the history of the franchise to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Says it feels funny when he comes back here. Such ties to the community, charity work, some business relationships, a lot of friends here in the Houston area.
And to say he was a great player is almost an understatement. The guy was a Hall of Fame caliber player and did it at guard. I mean, are you kidding me? That's hard to get noticed.
Of course, one of the stories that came up this week revolved around Mike and the head coaching vacancy at Penn State. We asked him about it when we talked with him earlier in the week, and he said he hadn't been contacted at that point by Penn State. But you can understand why that's a call the university might want to make if they haven't already. Mike has talked about his alma mater, what it means to him. He said publicly that he's happy doing what he's doing with the Tennessee Titans. It would be tough for him to leave an organization that he's been a part of as a coach or a player since 1982.
That's 30 years. I mean, I understand the time he had in Penn State was in his formative years, and there's a lot of good things, but that's 4 years out of his life. This organization has had him for 30 years, and now he's risen just this year to the pinnacle of a player coach, and now head coach. I think that's tough to walk away from for any opportunity, no matter how attractive.
And a lot of people have been impressed by the job that Mike has done in his first year as the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. Mariani back at the end zone. They'll bring it out to the 20. Mike wanted to give his guys a little perspective this week, so he told the story about a team last year that was 8-6, had lost 2 straight games. They were getting buried by some of the media, including one headline that said they were done. But then they went on to run the table, win the Super Bowl, and go on a 20-game winning streak. He said a lot of players had forgotten where the Packers were toward the end of last season. He wanted to remind them and say, that's how they handled it. How are you going to handle it? Well, right now, we're tied at 16. Chris Johnson dives forward to the 26-yard line. And once again, let's go back to JB and Boomer in New York for the latest on the Dolphins and the Jets.
A long Miami drive.
Well, 21 plays. That's the longest drive this year for any NFL team. Matt Moore's going to find Charles Clay 13-10. Miami's making it awful difficult on the Jets as they are now in the fourth quarter.
Jets need to win and get some help in order to get in. Bill and Steve.
21 plays. You're playing pretty well offensively if you can do that.
2nd and 4. Johnson. Drop for a loss. Tim Dobbins, the inside linebacker, with the tackle. Once again, checking with JB and Boomer.
Patriots were down 21-0 at one point.
How about Brady? He's going to go to his second favorite receiver. That's Rob Gronkowski. 16 TD receptions on the year. 28 unanswered points. 28-21. New England wins. They are the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Bill and Steve.
Thank you, guys. Gronkowski has had just a remarkable, historic season, and that continues today. 3 of 9 on 3rd down for the Tennessee Titans. They need 7. And Lavelle Hawkins tries to extend, and he looks like he's going to have it.
Well, they gave him the spot at the 30-yard line, and that's going to be enough. That is going to be enough, and that was a great effort to get over that line.
Lavelle Hawkins with 44 catches on the season coming in for 451 yards and a touchdown. Hurt his ankle last week, but back healthy this week.
And I'd almost challenge that spot if I'm Gary Kubiak. That was very close.
Inside of 13 minutes remaining. Tied at 16, CJ. And he was hammered. I mean, he had nowhere to go. Mr. Alexander made the stop.
And this is just a run right off the left side. Watch where Alexander comes from, just steps right out. Boom. That is textbook classic NFL tackle. Squares up, helmet right in the midsection, wraps up, goes backwards. Wow.
Jamie Harper checks in, alone in the backfield on 2nd and 10. They pick up the blitz. Hasselbeck lets it go and throws it away. Cook was in the area, but Hasselbeck just wanted to get rid of it.
Yeah, and he was just getting rid of that. He got immediate pressure from Nading coming off the right side. You see right at the bottom of your screen, 57. Just had the right angle. Hasselbeck does a nice job just giving ground and getting himself out to a spot where he can get rid of it without getting called for grounding.
Jesse Nading, one of those backups who Gary Kubiak told us you're going to see plenty of those guys tomorrow when we talked to him yesterday. 3rd and 10. Harper remains in the game. Trying to run the screen to him. He's got it. But well short of the first down. Pushed out of bounds at the 34.
Well, the Titans anticipated some pressure, and they didn't get it. They got a straight 4-man rush. And the Texans, so disciplined in their linebacker core, are all over this. You see there, just everybody smelled that out, pursued it to the sideline. No chance. Great defensive call by Wade Phillips upstairs.
Shiloh Ko, the rookie out of Idaho, the 5th-round draft pick, standing back at his own 20-yard line, waiting the punt from Brett Kern.
This play's called dead before the snap. That was a good punt to go to a waste for Kern.
He went out of bounds at about the 10-yard line.
Delay of game defense. Number 26, moving into the neutral zone, attempting to get the offense to false start. A 5-yard penalty Remains fourth down.
Now it's a 4th and 1. And you almost think about it, but no. Not with 11 and a half minutes to go in a tie ball game.
And a must-win situation.
And Mike Munchak being an old offensive lineman, a lot of those guys, you always think you can get it when you're up front. But the head coach on the sidelines,
put the headphones
that's
on.
right.
You don't
when
have
you're wearing
the
a
pads
face
on.
mask, you think you can get it. When you're wearing headphones, you're not quite so sure.
Kern gets into this one. Another good punt. And it will sail out of bounds inside the 20. Let's see where they spot it. 11:24 left to go in the ball game. Tied at 16. Back in Houston, see what makes unforgettable this season's #1 new drama. Hoppy Montgomery and Dylan Walsh star Tuesday, only CBS. TJ Yates, 1 series, 4 of 4. Led the Texans down the field, and that was it for the day. It's been all Jake Delhomme since. Tate, hole right side. And spun down at around the 18-yard line.
Good job by that offensive line, getting a nice solid gain on first down, a little shy of what you'd really like, but almost a 4-yard gain. They continue to work really well. We spoke in the open about the kind of year that they're having up front. Austin, the center, working in there, getting some time in this game.
2nd and 5. Tied at 16. They run the reverse with Kobe Jones. And made something out of nothing. Colin McCarthy brought him down.
Well, the Titans almost get this for a loss, but Jones with his speed is able to get to the outside around Finnegan, who's walled off by Johnson.
Jones is a guy who can explode for a big play at any time. Came in with 477 yards, just 1 touchdown this season. Has excelled in the return game. 4 career returns for touchdowns. 3rd and 1. Power I formation with a little play action. Delhomme rolling and incomplete. Tried to hit Vickers and led him a little too much.
There's some words being exchanged there. Vickers probably frustrated at not being able to pull this in. Watch, he's the lead back, gets a shot on Witherspoon and then goes out for the pass, and he's right there, and he's got to pull that in. It's a first down if he can do it. It just trickles through his hands.
Cement Turk is on to kick it away to Mark Mariani. No rush. Short, high punt. Fair catch made on the run by Mariani near the 43-yard line.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Sprint. All football, no limits, only from Sprint. Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram. And by TD Ameritrade.
Not everyone is riveted by the action on the field as the Tennessee Titans start with their best field position of this half. They're on 43-yard line. 5 receivers, empty backfield for Hasselbeck. They run the slant. Jared Cook was separated from the football, and he was popped. Danielle Manning, the free safety. Let's take a look at what this Houston defense has done today.
Well, it's been a lot about the linebackers. You see there the tackle by Dobbins, then the big hit by Alexander and Nading chasing Hasselbeck out of the pocket. That's been the one thing that Wade Phillips has brought to this defense. He changed them from a 4-3 to a 3-4, and he's got the athletes at linebacker to get it done in a big way.
Huge improvement for Houston. One of the best in NFL history on defense from a year ago. Hasselbeck, he's going to go deep. Incomplete. Donnie Avery could not keep his feet. Texan defense has adopted the nickname Bulls on Parade as we take another look at the deep throw.
You think Avery, he's going to get some separation, then just loses his balance as he's trying to extend for the football. Kind of falls and gets up awkwardly, but seems to be all right.
They have a lot of pride in their defense, and that has Mike Munchak shaking his head. 3rd and 10. Hasselbeck, good protection. Ball's up in the air and almost picked off. Manning had a bead on it.
Well, McCain once again on the coverage ends up batting this ball straight up. When this ball's tipped, you got to think there's no way it's not going to be intercepted. It's in the air forever. And it just takes too long for Manning to get there to pull it in. And you know, Hasselbeck's stomach went up into his throat when that ball got tipped up. There's nothing worse for a quarterback than a tipped pass in the secondary.
6th punt upcoming for the Titans. Kern angles another one toward the sideline.
Wow, that is...
And another terrific punt.
He has been a real weapon for this team in the second half.
Texans winning the field position game, but the scoreboard shows we're tied at 16. A 52-yard punt. Brett Kern has been a star for the Titans today. His 4th punt inside the 20. He's averaging almost 48 yards a punt from the 5-yard line. Tate dropped immediately by Colin McCarthy. Sunday, January 15th. Undercover Boss returns with new challenges and huge rewards. That's 2 weeks from tonight. Undercover Boss, only CBS.
You know, I think the Texans have really got to be pretty encouraged by the play that Jake Delhomme's been able to put together today, being called in relief of TJ Yates.
Arian Foster and Owen Daniels both inactive. 2nd down, 3-step drop, caught by Jones. Couple yards shy of the 1st down. It's interesting, he's done for now, but Andre Johnson has been a cornerstone of this franchise, the only player on the roster who was with the team when Gary Kubiak took over. He could have gone elsewhere when his contract was up, but he took less money to stay here in Houston because he wanted to be a part of things when the Texans finally turned it around and broke through. It's ironic that he's missed so many games this season, but he's still enjoying it. It was fun to watch his face light up when we talked with him about how special this season has been for the franchise and how much it's meant to him. Ward trying to fight his way for the 1st down, but he's going to be short. Akeem Ayers made the tackle.
Yeah, Andre Johnson has been a pillar of this franchise, and for good reason. He is truly a great player in the National Football League. Unfortunate to have had 2 different hamstring injuries this year that have limited him, but make no mistake, when he's 100%, he is one of the top 2, maybe 3, maybe 1 wide receivers in the NFL.
Matt Church standing back at the goal line. Titans again with good field position, should have after this. A very nice punt. The punters have been stars today. Mariani tiptoeing up the sideline and out of bounds. 7:03 left to play. We are deadlocked at 16.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go. And by Subway. Start the year right at Subway with a fresh twist on turkey. Subway, eat fresh.
We're back. It looked like Mark Mariani may have stepped out of bounds on the return. Gary Kubiak had the red hanky out, decided not to challenge the return.
Yeah, it's right at about the 37-yard line right there. That step right there is the one in question. Now the dirt tosses up inside the white line. Kubiak electing not to challenge. I think that's probably a good idea to keep the red flag in his pocket.
Again, good field position for the Titans. first down. Hasselbeck underneath. And they are hitting out there. Donnie Avery with the catch. And they rule it incomplete. Let's go back to New York for an update.
This does not help the Jets' cause.
Hey guys, Mark Sanchez has had a terrible end of the season as he throws his third interception of the day. This is to Marvin Mitchell, the linebacker, not the attorney. He takes it all the way back. Jets do not look good right now.
Bill and Steve.
All right, guys, thank you. Chris Johnson with the carry. Out to the 45-yard line. It has been, as you said, a tough end of the season for Mark Sanchez and the Jets.
Well, the Jets, like so many teams, first things first, you got to win and then hope for help. You don't hope for help and then try and win.
Because they need the Texans to win here, otherwise they're out as well. 3rd and 9. Again, empty backfield for Tennessee. Trying to take advantage of this good field position. Here they come on the blitz, and this is going to be perhaps a first down. Chris Johnson, it all depends on where they spot his forward progress.
It almost looked like he had the first down and lost it on the tackle. As he tried to spin out of the tackle, he lost ground and went back behind the 46-yard line of the Texans. Watch this. He'll catch this. The 46 is the line to get, and he goes backwards, and they spotted him, it looks like just at or outside the 46-yard line. This is very, very close. But he had the first down and lost it on the tackle.
Quentin Demps did a good job closing quickly and was able to drop CJ. Let's check the measurement.
And that, oof.
That is close.
That is just shy. They're looking. The officials are right on it. And he gave it to him. Look at Mike Munchak.
When you have to bring out a microscope, you know it's close.
I've seen him, listen, I've seen him pull out cards and try to slip between the ball. And he
Look at old poker face.
He's got it. Yes,
yeah,
thank you.
Got it.
They've got it. Well, the thing is, they have to stand the pole upright. They can't like pull it and lean it away from the football. They have to stand it up. And when they stood the pole up straight, it touched the football and was a first down.
And that was big into Texan territory. Hasselbeck launches it. That's caught again by Avery. Donnie Avery with another big play. Pushed out of bounds by Bryce McCain.
You can't say enough about Avery and his game today with the touchdown and this nice catch on the hookup, working there against McClain. McClain, who's actually played extremely well as two today.
Donnie Avery, who did not have a reception as a Tennessee Titan coming into this ball game. That was good for 21 yards and a first down. Under 5.5 minutes left to play. Harper. Tripped up at the 23-yard line.
Yeah, he's not going to get credit for the tackle, but Quentin Demps submarined that play and forced Harper to kind of go over the top and stumble. That is a hard play for a defensive back to make, coming right up as a safety, coming right up in the line of scrimmage and submarining, knowing you're going to get rolled over.
Clock continues to run. 2nd and 8. Hasselbeck lets it fly. Oh, touchdown.
Oh,
Nate Washington.
You tell me Matt Hasselbeck isn't a wily veteran. He threw a rainbow knowing his receiver had to have time to run out and get it. What a tremendous throw and catch.
And Nate Washington, who's been beat up today, somehow came down with it.
This ball's already in the air. You see him. He's trying to adjust to it. He comes down with it. And a hard tackle there by Brandon Harris. And you see this ball way up in the air. It's like a punt.
23 yards.
Wow.
The Titans find the end zone. Nate Washington has had a breakout season in the absence of Kenny Britt. Last week he became the first Titan receiver to have 70 catches in a season since 2004.
And they've heard from upstairs they're going to review this to make sure that he had total control as he came down in the end zone. Sometimes when you get a hard tackle and the ball moves around, all it takes is a brush with the grass to negate it. You have to finish the entire process as a wide receiver trying to catch the football. And Ron Winter's going to take a look just to make sure everything is as it should be. You see here he goes up with two hands, and there comes Harris closing hard and fast and slams him to the ground, doing everything he can to make it impossible to catch. But you see the ball wobbling and fluttering up in the air. Hasselbeck just lofted it up, and I don't see the ball. We went down between his legs, but it never touched the ground and never came out. So I think this is going to stand. Right here, you can't see the ball touch the ground there. And he obviously comes up with it, and that was a hard catch to make. There is Nate Washington in the huddle there with Chris Palmer and Hasselbeck. Also Jake Locker there on the right. Mike Munchak working the official, trying to get buddy in case it really goes down to the wire.
Nate Washington came in today needing 69 yards for his first 1,000-yard season. He's past that. And he really has stepped up for the Tennessee Titans.
Well, the Titans really fighting tooth and nail all season after a great start. Matt Hasselbeck coming out, getting off to a lightning start after Chris Johnson gets back in the lineup as running back. And they have really fought tooth and nail to stay in the playoff race, and now coming into today with a chance to stay in it and get into the tournament. I think this play is going to stand. When he lands is the only moment where that ball might have touched the ground. Even though it goes down between his legs, that's okay as long as it never touches the ground. Of course, I think there's not enough evidence there to overturn it.
Awaiting the results of the review on the touchdown catch by Nate Washington.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. The receiver maintained possession of the ball throughout the process of completing the catch. Therefore, it is a touchdown.
So Tennessee regains the lead with 4:31 left to play. 7th touchdown catch of the season.
See, coming on the deep cross. Comes up with him. He took a shot.
And now we'll see Rob Baronis, who has 3 field goals today, on to try the extra point to make it a 23-16 lead. And he's got it. So 4:31 left to play, and we've got a penalty marker down.
This is going against the Texans. And being forced on the kick.
Offside. Defense number 21.
Tennessee in a must-win situation today. They need some other things to happen, but under the category of taking care of business, they needed the win today.
That penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
Matt Hasselbeck, he has done what they brought him to Tennessee to do, added veteran leadership, and he's played very well.
Actually, he's done better than they thought he was brought in to do. He was brought in to kind of mentor Jake Locker and hold the fort down while the first-round draft pick gained maturity. But let's face it, he has carried this franchise and played so well. They really kind of want him to hang around now.
Hasselbeck 22 of 35 for 297 and 2 touchdowns. Titans passing game has really exploded here in the last few weeks. They're coming off 3 consecutive weeks of at least 300 net yards throwing the football, the first time in the last 20 years of the franchise, going back to their days as the Houston Oilers, that they've had that kind of production in the passing game.
Yeah, and that was back, wow, that was back with Warren Moon and the run and shoot. And they put up some scary numbers.
Two must-haves today for Tennessee. They have to beat the Texans, and Cincinnati has to lose later today against Baltimore. Depths back deep. And Verona sails it again out of the end zone. And don't forget, coming up next, the AFC playoff picture will be settled in Game 2 of our doubleheader. Action includes Kyle Orton and the Chiefs against Tim Tebow and the Broncos. And in a big one for Tennessee, the Bengals host the Ravens. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Jake Delhomme, who has played well. 80 yards to go. 23-16 Tennessee.
Cut! Red 80! Hey, come!
Delhomme, deep drop, up the sideline. Flag is down, and Bryant Johnson makes the catch.
Yeah, this could be, I think, on either team. Could be offensive pass interference or defensive, as you see Bryant Johnson, who came down with that ball after the hesitation, a double move on the sideline. And I think they're going to wave it off. I think this was going to go on the defense. There was some contact right where the flag is, just inside the 50-yard line of the Texans.
Illegal contact. Defense number 30. That penalty's declined. Well, play. First down.
Because Johnson made the catch. Bryant Johnson, formerly the 17th pick overall in the 2003 draft by Arizona.
You see there, and there's McCourty, knows he's got it. He grabs the arm. Not much contact, but you can't do that on the double move. He got him.
40 yards on the play. First and 10. Ben Tate swarmed under back at the 42-yard line. Bryant Johnson, in his 9th year out of Penn State, signed by the Texans back in late August, came in with 4 catches for 45 yards.
There's Tate coming off the field. That play, the first play of the series, the long pass play down. It's a nice thing to get on film if you're the Texans. That next week, if these two teams play again, that'll be in the back of the Tennessee Titans' mind.
Delhomme. And he was swarmed under immediately. Jarrell Casey led the charge. Second sack of the season for the big rookie out of USC.
Well, you see here coming out, the Texans just get overwhelmed up front. 4-man rush, a straight 4-man rush. And 2 guys get there really quick. Casey playing extremely well up front for Tennessee.
Under 3.5 minutes to play. Back at midfield. They have to go all the way to the 30 to get a first down. Delhomme batted away. Ward was the intended receiver, and it was Colin McCarthy, the rookie, who got a hand on it.
Yeah, they're going to end up sending the punt team out on a 3rd and 20. No shot for Jake Delhomme. They're going to try and hit the little check down and get some positive yards back. They could almost get into field goal range, or easily get into field goal range before they got a first down, but no such luck. Matt Turkle trying to pin them back inside their 10-yard line.
3:05 left to play. Turk standing back at the 45-yard line, kicks it away. Mariani calls for the fair catch, and he makes it. Can't afford a mistake there. And they'll spot it at around the 15-yard line. Tomorrow on CBS, kick off the new year with a new episode of Hawaii 5-0. You won't want to miss it right here, only CBS.
Now it's all about a 4-minute offense for the Tennessee Titans. They've got an opportunity to grind this out. Houston with 3 timeouts. The Titans want to force the Texans to use all of their timeouts, even if they're not able to get enough first downs to get into scoring range.
Chris Johnson lowers his shoulder out to the 16-yard line. The Texans take a timeout.
And that's the right thing. We saw at the end of the first half when Tennessee, while still getting into field goal range, kind of robbed themselves of the opportunity to go for a touchdown. Now the Titans trying to run the clock out.
Titans in a must-win situation today, as we've said. They also need a few things to fall into place. Jets are behind, but the object is to earn a return trip back here next week for the wild card game.
And that's one of the side notes to this game. And I actually did that when I was playing. We played at the Houston Oilers in the last game of the regular season and got crushed. And then at home against that same club the next week, we managed to beat them in the greatest comeback in NFL history. So don't think that the Titans aren't going to come in and give their best effort, or that this game is going to go the same way as it is this week if these teams meet next week.
2:51 left. 2nd and 7. Johnson. Not much room. Brought down at the 19-yard line.
And another timeout here, and this is what the Titans want. What they want is for the Texans to have to use their timeouts and then get a first down after the 2-minute warning.
Of course, Houston with a huge turnaround on defense. To give you an idea of how monumental the change has been for the Houston defense, they came in today going from allowing 376 yards a game a year ago to 280 this season. That's a difference of 96 yards a game. That is the 3rd biggest improvement in NFL history, behind the Cowboys in 1963 and the Raiders in 1998.
And Wade Phillips, the guy you saw up there obscured in the coach's booth, is the big reason why.
And that defense will serve them well as the postseason begins here next week. Harper cuts it to the outside. And that was big, a first down. Jamie Harper out to the 31-yard line.
And that's enormous. Houston takes their last timeout right there. And this is a nice bounce. I watch as Hall and also Harris lead him around the corner, and see how he drops his shoulder and stays in bounds as Alexander, coming over to try and knock him out of bounds, does a sensational job of staying in and letting the clock run, forcing that final timeout from Gary Kubiak. That's enormous.
A gain of 12 yards.
You think, as you get to this point in this game, we've talked about it all, and we just finished talking about how this game could replay itself next week. Make no mistake, the Titans are going to see a much different Houston Texans defense next week should they win this game. Next week, this Texans team is going to look a lot different.
Harper again. Big rookie out of Clemson. And that should take us down to the 2-minute warning.
And this is that point. You see everybody in the whole, you see the players get up and look at the scoreboard. You look at the side, the coaches are looking at the scoreboard. The guys on the sidelines are glancing up at it. Everybody's doing the math in their heads.
See, another thing they're going to be doing, they're going to be watching Cincinnati and Baltimore in a late game today, which you can see here on CBS. 2-minute warning, 23-16 Tennessee. And we're back, 2 minutes to go. And the Tennessee Titans apparently have done their part to try to get to the postseason. 2nd and 9. Texans are out of timeouts. Ahmad Hall, the fullback. And he takes a pop by Dobbins.
We talked about this game.
And they're saying the ball came out.
Well, Naden comes out with the football. We never saw it, and there was never a scramble for the football either. And as Ahmad Hall lays on the ground, he was injured. Mike Munchak You can see the look of disbelief on his face.
Wow.
And we were talking about the fact that the Titans were trying to win this game to get back here to play next week, and that only happens if Cincinnati loses later today to Baltimore. But Hall gets hit, and no question, that ball's out, and it's on the ground. And he doesn't even know. He's looking around. He doesn't know where it is.
And that clearly came out.
And nading right there, you see him pull it out, and right there ends up with it. And that's a good recovery, and that's a good call by the officials as Hall takes the big shot
from Dobbins and Harris.
And it ends up in the turnover. Now, what this means is really the Texans have one last opportunity to tie this football game with a touchdown. No timeouts.
Less than 2 minutes to play here in Houston. Titans in a must-win situation, up 23-16. That's Ahmad Hall, and it looked like the Titans were in the process of running out the clock, but now an apparent turnover, and the Texans have it, down a touchdown at the Tennessee 36-yard line.
Ahmad Hall carrying it up inside, trying to run the clock out, takes a big hit from Dobbins, the linebacker. The ball pops loose right there. And Jesse Nading scoops it up and ends up with the recovery, giving the Texans an opportunity to go in for the score here to tie it up.
No timeouts remaining. Jake Delhomme has been in since the second series of the ball game for the rookie TJ Yates. Delhomme fires inside the 20. Caught by Jacoby Jones.
And right now you can tell the Tennessee defense is a little bit bewildered and confused about why they're back on the field. They expected this game to be over. Now they've got to flip the switch and turn it on.
After the pickup of 23 yards, Delhomme checks it down to Tate. And he's dropped it around the 11-yard line by Colin McCarthy.
Jake Delhomme, as you see there, Hall being attended to. Jake Delhomme, the veteran, brought in just about a month ago, seeing his first action of the season today.
Houston cannot stop the clock. Out of timeouts. Short drop. And out of bounds. George Reason, the tight end.
Now they're going to say his forward progress was not stopped. They keep the clock running with 55 seconds and counting to go.
50 seconds remaining. 3rd and 3. They need a touchdown. Delhomme fires down to the 5-yard line.
And that's the first down.
Casey. First and goal. And they spike it.
Well, what was a game that has been close throughout. You see what's at stake. Tennessee needing to win today to have a chance to stay alive, and then hoping that Cincinnati can lose to Baltimore later today, and they will be in as the 6th wild card. The 6th seed, the 2nd wild card.
And back here to play in the wild card game next week. The Jets have lost, so if the Raiders and Broncos both win and the Titans hang on here, they will be in the postseason. 24 seconds left to go. Delhomme throws it away. Veteran move. No one was open. Clock stops with 19 seconds left. And coming up, time permitting, after the game, the NFL Today update presented by Verizon. Join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cowher for all the latest NFL scores and highlights from Week 17.
Now you look there at Gary Kubiak. Now this is a game that can't hurt or help the Texans, and it's interesting to think about. If they do score a touchdown, do you go for 2 to win the game and take your players off the field healthy, or do you extend this game and risk further injury or losing a key player in a game that can't help you?
That's a great point. 3rd and goal. Delhomme back in the end zone. Touchdown. Bryant Johnson.
And Jake Delhomme is signaling they're going to go for 2. They are going to go for two and try and end the game right here, win or lose. And I'll tell you what, you will rarely see a more pressure-packed play than this right here. As you see the touchdown from Delhomme, they're going to line up and go for two. And think about this for the Tennessee Titans. 16 weeks of the regular season, it comes down to one final two-point conversion to give them an opportunity to get into the postseason, and they got to stop the Texans right here. And they're going for two. And I think it's the right play for Gary Kubiak. Get your players the chance to win it and get off the field healthy.
This is the season for the Tennessee Titans. All or nothing on this play, and we have movement before the snap by Dreesen, the tight end.
False start. Offense number 85. 5-yard penalty.
Yeah, you can't miss this right frame right here. I mean, that's a complete mind blower right there. You can't do that. The game on the line. That's just unforgivable.
So here we go, the two-point conversion. And a bad snap. And that is it.
And that'll do it.
Wow.
Unbelievable to play well enough to get yourself into that position and to just bobble that opportunity away.
And when Ahmad Hall comes back around, he's going to appreciate what just happened. It was his turnover that allowed the Texans to score and to try the two-point conversion.
They get a silly, idiotic penalty with the NFL's #1 rushing offense. They got two rushers rushing for over 1,000 yards on the season with one play on the 2-yard line. You'd think they could get that in their sleep against anybody with this rushing attack. They get a false start that moves them back to make it now 1 play in 7 to get an extra two-point conversion, and they snap the ball like a rocket over the quarterback's head. An inglorious end to what was a pretty good football game.
14 ticks of the clock left. So the Jets have lost. So now all that really matters is that Cincinnati loses later today and the Raiders and Broncos both win. And that will get Matt Hasselbeck and the Titans into the wild card game here next week.
And Jake Delhomme, in his first action of the season, played most of the game. TJ Yates played 1 series, then sat down. Delhomme carried this team to give Delhomme right down to the wire in a two-point conversion. And that's a disappointing end to really the only action that he's seen all year.
And the Texans came in today already having locked up the #3 seed. That wouldn't change regardless of the outcome. So they set Arian Foster and Jonathan Joseph, their 2 Pro Bowlers, as well as their tight end Owen Daniels. Onside kick is fielded by the Titans, and that will more than likely end things. We sort of thought things were over about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. And it ends up going the way it looked like it was, but not before the Texans had one last gasp. And the Titans, given what they had to do coming into today, got it done. And the Texans, really, I think, accomplishing what they wanted to accomplish too. The Texans wanted to clean up what had been some shabby play in the last few weeks. They did that with a lot of players that didn't see much action during the regular season. They played extremely well today, even in this loss.
Matt Hasselbeck takes a knee, and that'll do it. Titans have done their part. And now they will await the outcome of the late games, which are coming up here on CBS. Final score 23-22 for Steve Tasker. This is Bill McAtee saying so long from Houston. You've been watching the NFL on CBS. Coming up, an NFL Today update presented by Verizon. We'll take you to New York for all the scores and highlights right after this.